Hey, Scott here at FantasyAces.com. Back to review the Week 4 matchups we have going on. This is the first week we have teams off. So the Giants, the Lions, the Dolphins, the Colts, the Seahawks, and the Patriots all are off this week, so make sure you get those fantasy players out of your lineups. Let's get to the matchups. We have to look first at the Browns and the Bengals. Be concerned about Derek Anderson over on the Browns because he might get benched if he doesn't start the game off well, and Brady Quinn might be coming in. The running game's not doing well. Nothing's really looking good over in Brownville. In terms of the Bengals, they came back and looked pretty good last week against the Giants in the Dreadland. So, I'm starting to think that maybe they have something going there. Carson Palmer might be making a return. T.J. Houshmandzadeh with 12 catches, over 100 yards. So he's looking pretty good. And Chris Perry might be able to run the ball like he did last week against the Giants, even better than the Browns. Looking at the Texans and the Jaguars, Steve Slayton, now the starter, looked fantastic last week. Playing a tougher defense, but I still think he should be pretty effective, especially out of the backfield with some receptions. We have the Jaguars on the other side, ran the ball very effectively against Indy like they always do. So Maurice Jones-Drew, Fred Taylor should be very effective going forward. And we're still looking for that passing game to come alive a bit. Let's go ahead and look at the Broncos and Chiefs. Jay Cutler, absolute stud, thrown to Marshall. Marshall's the #1 ranked wide receiver in fantasy land. You want to avoid the running backs because you got that three-headed monster going back there with Hall, Selvin, Young, and Pittman. Pittman's getting the goal lines. Looking over at the Chiefs, I think Damien Huard's going to get the start at quarterback. At least that's what Herman Edwards says. Larry Johnson had a good week last week. Should have some solid stats this week from them as well. Dwayne Bowe, Gonzalez. Those are some fantasy relevant players there. Falcons will be at the Panthers this week. Michael Turner doesn't run as well away from home as he does, at home. So we'll see how it goes. Matt Ryan, we'll see what goes on with him. Roddy White had a big week last week. See if that continues. The Panthers, Steve Smith should just be all over the Falcons this week with some really nice stats. There's a little share time in the backfield with D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. Stewart seems to be the guy you want there because he gets the goal line touches. You look at the Cardinals and the Jets. Kurt Warner, very solid play. He's got some great targets in Bolden and Fitzgerald. Edgerrin James out of the backfield, consistent runner. Also has Hightower in there getting some goal line touches and receptions out of the backfield. You have the Jets. Brett Favre didn't have a great week this week at all against the Chargers. He's looking to rebound against the Cardinals, but they're a tough defense. So I'm looking for some more mistakes out of Brett, but he should just put up some fantasy relevant numbers. Kotri and Cole should be in the mix, and Chancey Stuckey looks great. Favre just keeps going to him. He's got like 40 yards average a week. He's scored every week of the season, so he seems to be a go-to guy for Brett. Thomas Jones should have a bounce-back week this week. See what he does. Let's go to the 49ers and Saints. I think this is going to be a game with a lot of points put up. J.T. O'Sullivan's looking like a great start at quarterback. He's really surprised a lot of people this year. Frank Gore is a stud out of the backfield. Receptions, running the ball all over the place. He'll put up well over 100 yards and score. You have to look across the way at the Saints. Drew Brees, solid quarterback there. David Patton's a little banged up from last week. You might see more of Robert Meacham. I think he's going to start to play a bigger role. Again, Reggie Bush on the other side is a fantastic start as well. He gets a ton of receptions. He'll have a ton of yards. He'll be in the end zone as well this week. Let's look at the Packers and the Bucks. Aaron Rodgers, the real deal. Ryan Grant looks like he's getting back close to 100%. Greg Jennings and Driver on the outside looking solid. Looking over at the Bucks, you've got Greasy throwing for over 400 yards last week. He's looking to keep that rolling. So looking at the backfield, you've got Ernest Graham and Warrick Dunn sharing time almost down the middle. So we'll see how that fares this week. You got the Vikings and the Titans. Vikings with Gus Frerotte coming in and playing. He gets their first victory in the first game over 200 yards passing. So we'll see if that continues. Adrian Peterson splitting time with Chester Taylor last week because he was a little banged up. We'll see how that goes as we move throughout the week. Titans' rush defense is pretty solid. Looking at the Titans, you've got Kerry Collins who's pitching the ball all over the place, making those receivers fantasy noteworthy. You've got guys like Bo Scaife who are coming out and playing very well. You also have the two-headed monster of Lendell White and Chris Johnson, the rookie. That's a very effective running game, but they're going up against a very tough run defense, so we'll see how they are. Maybe Chris Johnson will be more effective out of the backfield, catching passes against that defense. Then we have the Chargers and the Raiders. Chargers may be on a roll here. Daniel Tomlinson looked pretty good. Maybe he's getting close to 100%. Sproles is a nice guy to have in there. Phillip Rivers, another stud. I mean, the guy's putting up big points. If you waited and took a quarterback later and grabbed him, you've got yourself a #1 quarterback, and that was a great pick. He's making guys, Antonio Gates, got great weapons out there. Vincent Jackson, Chris Chambers, so it's looking like a very solid team. Across the way with the Raiders, ugly, very ugly. The running backs are, sharing time. The quarterback's not too effective, so Chargers should, beat on them pretty well, except it is in Oakland, so we'll see. The Bills and the Rams are an ugly, ugly team. Bolger was shown the bench. Trent Green's now coming in, who's 38 years old. How effective is he going to be? Is he going to be smashed to the ground? And I don't know what's going to happen there. Torrey Holt's value is going to take a hit. Steven Jackson, he's the only fantasy relevant guy here because he'll at least get you some yardage. The Bills on the other side, Marshawn Lynch run the ball over the place, and Trent Edwards, really a nice surprise. He's a very effective quarterback, probably a top 15 guy. He has Lee Evans out there, so Josh Reed. So it's a pretty good team. Robert Royal near the goal line helps out. Let's go to the next matchup with the Redskins and the Cowboys. Redskins will be missing Jason Taylor this week. That's going to hurt a bit because Marion Barber's going to run it all over the place on them, and Felix Jones is going to join him in that matter. So I think the Cowboys are going to take this game. Plus it's at home. Romo will be pitching the ball all over the place with the lack of pressure. Missing Taylor on the other side. He'll be throwing to Owens and Witten. Miles Austin's back, so that's a very effective offense. Redskins, they've got Clinton Portis. They've got Santana Moss. Campbell can get it to them. They also have Cooley. We'll see how they're able to hold up with the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are too strong. You have the Eagles and the Bears on Sunday Night Football. Eagles, pretty banged up. McNabb hurt his pectoral muscle. We'll see if he's able to give it a go. Westbrook, he hurt the ankle, so they both should play. How effective they'll be, we're not sure. If you're a Westbrook owner, you might as well go out there and get Correll Buckhalter right now because he seems to be the guy to step in place if Westy's not able to go. McNabb should be fine. We'll see how effective Reggie Brown is, Deshaun Jackson, those guys, Hank Baskett, Greg Lewis. So, we're going over to the Bears. Look at Matt Forte's a guy. The Eagles' defense is pretty tough, though, so we'll see what goes on. Kyle Orton looks pretty effective, throwing the ball to Brandon Lloyd, so we'll see if they're able to continue that connection. Looking at the last match of the week, we have the Ravens and the Steelers. Steelers will be missing Casey Hampton this week, so maybe Willis McGahee and LaRon McClain will get some rushes up the middle of that defense. We'll see. The Steelers are a pretty stout defense, and they'll be at home. Passing game hasn't been too effective at all. Derek Mason, very little. Michael Clayton, very little. That Todd Heap, but how long is he going to be out there? You have the Steelers. Willie Parker out this week. Has a knee issue, a knee sprain, so Rashard Mendenhall is going to get his shot to be the guy there. He's also going to get some help from Welde Moore coming in on third downs, giving him some time. So Ben Roethlisberger, very banged up. Got sacked a bunch of times last week. The Raven defense is all about blitzing, so he's going to be under a lot of pressure again this week. We'll see how effective he can be using Hines Ward. Heath Miller's been a nice little surprise. Santonio Holmes needs to start getting going here because he's a key downfield threat. That's all the matchups we have for this week. Again, check us out at fantasyaces.com for any helping you with your fantasy lineups. See you there.